What is up guys, Jarv here, back today jumping into Destiny 2. Now in our video today we're taking a look at the Vault of Glass and specifically a guide for new and returning players. So if you want to refresh ahead of the raid launching on the 22nd of May, then be sure to stick around and enjoy the video. If you do enjoy the video, be sure to leave a comment and rating down below and consider subscribing for more Destiny 2 content. But without further delay guys, let's jump into the video. Now with Season of the Splicer in full swing, as well as the imminent arrival of the Vault of Glass inside Destiny 2, today we're going to take a look at each and every encounter and recap all the mechanics and hints and tips that you need to make sure that you nail it when jumping into the Vault of Glass raid on Venus in the Season of the Splicer. Now to further help you guys out, I've added timestamps to the video description below, so if there's a certain encounter that you're looking for, then be sure to check the video description to save yourself some time. Now the first encounter inside the Vault of Glass is called Forming of the Spire, and this is where players spawn in an open area outside the Vault of Glass, and we need to form a spire which acts as a key to enter the vault. Now in the opening area called the Waking Ruins, you'll find 3 sync plates, one on the left, one in the middle by the door, and one on the right hand side on the upper side of the arena, and all 3 plates need to be synchronized together in order to build the spire. Now to synchronize the plates, you first need to clear any adds in the area and stand on the plates to activate them. Once they are active, then waves of Vex will start spawning near the sync plates to try and stop you forming the spire. Now if for any reason the Vex can force any Guardians away from their sync plates, then the spire's construction will either stop and will reverse. So be sure to keep on top of all the adds in the area, which will either spawn in front or behind each plate, or if you're on the middle sync plate by the Vault of Glass door, directly to the left and right of you. Now inside Destiny 2, the amount of adds in the area will be dialed up a notch compared to Destiny 1, so fully expect to see more Vex in the area. Now the most significant threat to the sync plates is a powerful Minotaur, and these are called Praetorians. Now these have a void shield in Destiny 1, and these potentially could be overload champions inside Destiny 2. Now the key to these sync plates is to not stay on the plates for the full duration. And once the Praetorian spawns, it's normal for them to advance directly towards the sync plates. This is normally due to players being on it, but if you can vacate the plate after capturing it, then the Praetorian is less likely to rush the plate itself. It means this won't disrupt the forming of the spire and gives you and your fire team more time in order to take them out. Now once the spire is fully formed, it will link to the Vault of Glass and open the door, allowing you and your fire team to enter the Vault of Glass. And the next main area you'll reach will be called Templar's Well, and in this area there'll be 3 encounters specifically. This will be Confluxes, Oracles, and the Templar fight itself. Now in this room you'll find lots of fanatics. These are basically headless goblins which leave a sparkling green goo behind. Now if you're unfortunate enough to touch this will leave you marked with negation, which leaves you with only a few seconds before you are killed by the Templar's Ritual of Negation. Now if you find yourself debuffed by Mark of Negation, you'll need to enter the pool of light that you can find in the middle of the map directly under the Templar. Here you'll be able to cleanse yourself and remove the debuff, but due to the position of the pool, it's a very high risk mechanic to pull off. And it's important to note that you can only use the pool of light a few times before it disappears completely. Now as we said, there are 3 different encounters in this arena, with the first one being called Confluxes. Now the Vex Confluxes need to be defended by Guardians, as the Vex will attempt to sacrifice in them. Now throughout the encounter there'll be a maximum of 3 Confluxes, with no more than 4 sacrifices allowed per Conflux. If for any reason more than 4 Vex are able to sacrifice, then this will wipe the encounter and the mission will fail. Now when you start the encounter, there'll be a single Conflux to defend in the middle of the map, and later on 2 more will be added, one on the left and one on the right side of the room. So with that in mind, you'll most definitely want to try and break up into pairs to help defend each Conflux. Now once you've successfully defended each Conflux, you'll see an on-screen prompt saying the Templar has summoned its legions. Now this will spawn a huge number of fanatics in the center of the arena down by the pool of light. Now the fanatics will spawn in large numbers, so you most definitely want to try and pin them in when you can. Alongside the fanatics, Axis Harpies will also spawn at each side of the room. So whilst most of your team are focusing on the fanatics, be sure to keep an eye out for these, as these can catch you out and be just as deadly. Now once the Templar's Legions phase is completed, all the enemies will disappear and any remaining Confluxes will spawn in. And as we said earlier, there are a total of 3 Confluxes that you'll need to defend to successfully complete this encounter. Now once you've defended the final set of Confluxes, this will move you on to the next phase of the fight, where you have to defeat the Oracles. Now there are 7 Oracles in total, all with their own unique tone and position. At the very beginning of the encounter, the fire team will get a preview of all their positions and also sound. So be sure to make note of exactly where they are. You'll find 3 on the left, 3 on the right, and 1 in the middle of the arena. Now the idea behind this encounter is that the fire team needs to destroy the oracles as quickly as possible, and failing to do so will mean they'll become marked with negation. And as before, if you find yourself marked by negation, you'll need to go to the pool of light in the middle of the arena in order to cleanse you and your fire team. And as before, there are only a certain amount of cleanses available before you fail the encounter and the mission. Now, as well as the same ads seen from previous encounters, the addition of hobgoblins will appear in this encounter. Now these will appear on the outer edges of the map in the far distance, and they will try and snipe you. Now inside Destiny 1 there was no such thing as solar or sniper resist, so certainly consider adding these to your armor inside Destiny 2. And once you've completed all the phases of the Oracle, you'll reach the next checkpoint, which is defeat the Templar. Now the pool of light that was once found in the middle of the map will be replaced with a brand new relic, and this is the Relic of Aegis. Now this is a wieldable shield, and once the player picks this up, this will start the encounter. Now the relic itself has some very unique abilities. It in fact has 2 different melee attacks, one of those being a light dash attack that you can use to fly around the map, which is very useful for this fight, as well as a slam attack, which is a great attack for taking out any of the harpies in the area. Now as well as those melee attacks, it also has its own shield. Now this defends the wielder of the relic from any damage, but also can cleanse any members of your fire team. And as well as this, it also has its own super attack, and this is the only way that you can remove the Templar's shield. Now the cleanse ability is a direct replacement for the pool of light that was found in the middle of the arena. However, this one has a cooldown, so it's not an ability you'll be able to spam, so use it sparingly, either to cleanse your fire team if they're marked by negation, or to defend the wielder from direct damage from Templar. And it's important to remember that someone needs to always wield the relic itself. If for any reason it is dropped by someone on the fire team, this needs to be picked up as soon as possible. If this is not the case, then the Curse of Aegis will trigger, and this will wipe the entire fire team. Now the Templar will spawn with a full shield, which will prevent them from taking any damage from the fire team. The only way to remove it is by using the super ability from the Relic of Aegis. Now the relic will charge up over time, but you can speed this up by defeating harpies by either using the light or heavy attack. Now as the relic is charging, 2 oracles will spawn in the area. These will need to be defeated as quickly as possible to prevent the fire team becoming marked with negation. If for any reason you aren't able to fully defeat the oracles, then the entire fire team will need to make its way over to the relic holder, who can cleanse the entire fire team. Now once the fire team has successfully defeated both of the oracles and the relic holder has a fully charged relic, they can use the super ability to remove the Templar's shield. And once the Templar's shield is removed, a number of guardians will have a detainment field spawn around them. Now if you find yourself trapped, you can use primary and energy weapons to break out the shield, and if you're the relic holder, you can use your light melee attack. Now once you've all broken out, you'll be free to damage the Templar to the best of your ability. After a few seconds though, the Templar will indicate that it will be attempting to teleport, and this can be identified in the arena with the circle and the beam of light. Now to prevent the Templar from teleporting, one player will need to stand in this circle. This doesn't necessarily need to be the relic holder. A Titan with a bubble, for example, is a fantastic choice. Now if you're able to successfully stop the Templar from teleporting, this will spawn a Minotaur currently inside Destiny 1. This could potentially be a overload Minotaur inside Destiny 2, so be prepared for that and make sure you have the relevant mods equipped. Now if for any reason you're unable to stop the Templar from teleporting, this will spawn another round of oracles. Once again, these will need to be defeated before taking down the Templar's shield once again. And as before, if for any reason you're unable to take out the oracles, you'll be all marked with Ritual of Negation. And should this be the case, then everyone will need to go to the relic holder in order to receive a cleanse. Now with the contest modifier enabled for the Destiny 2 raid on the 22nd of May, it's likely that the Templar will take 2 or 3 phases. So you need to repeat these mechanics over and over again until you can finally defeat the Templar. Now moving on from the Templar as well, this brings us nicely onto the Gorgons Labyrinth. Now this area is essentially a maze that's filled with harpies called Gorgons, and these are very tanky and will take a very strong and coordinated team to take out. Now to get through this area as efficiently as you can, you most definitely want to avoid the Gorgons where possible. If for any reason you are unable to avoid them and are spotted, it will take a lot of firepower to take them out. In the event you do need to take out a Gorgon and are able to do this successfully, it will show a message on screen saying the Gorgons grow stronger. However, to complete the puzzle, you don't need to take any out at all. Now there is an efficient route through this maze that, if done correctly, will allow a fire team to move on to the jumping puzzle with relative ease. Now a very useful class to have here is a Night Stalker Hunter, as they can make the entire fire team invisible. It's important to note that double jumping as well as sliding does attract the Gorgons' attention. attention. So try and only use single jumps where you can, and try and crouch whilst moving around. Now once the time is right, you want to make the entire fire team invisible and make your way to the top of the large rock in the middle of the room. Once up here, you can jump over the ravine onto the other side. Now once here though, you do want to wait for them to vacate the area. They are on a fixed route though, so this part of the maze is really about patience. And once they start moving along, you can drop down and you need to hug the wall on the right hand side. Now whilst working your way around, once again the Night Stalker can make you invisible should they need to, and from here we're looking for a small hole on the right hand side. If done successfully, the entire fire team will have made it through onto the jumping puzzle part of the raid. Now the jumping puzzle is a bottomless chamber, and the aim here is to get to the wall on the other side. The wall has a ledge that you can walk along, which will finally bring us to the glass throne. Now to get across though, you need to stand on platforms, and once on them this will summon a brand new platform, but be aware these will disappear after a few seconds. Ideally you want to jump together as a fire team to ensure you can all get across successfully. Now naturally in Destiny 2 we have more mobility and abilities generally than Destiny 1, so there are many more options in terms of the best way to get across, but if you want to get across in the traditional method, then using the platforms is the way to do it. But once you've navigated your way across and along the ledge on the other side of the wall, you and your fire team would have made it successfully to the glass throne. And the next phase of the raid is called Awaken the Glass Throne. Now for this stage we need to kill 3 gatekeepers, which are hydras with no shields. Now the first of the 3 gatekeepers can be found in the middle of the room, and in defeating them they would drop a relic, the Aegis, the same relic that we had at Templar. Now whilst the relic is being retrieved, 2 sync plates need to be captured. These can be found on the left and right side of the arena, one representing the past and the other representing the future versions of the vault. Now these are also often referred to as Mars and Venus. Now Mars or the past can be found on the left, with Venus or the future found on the right. Now it's not required to capture both plates at the same time. In fact, if you're trying to play it safe, then it may be easier to capture one at a time. But once you've captured the plate, a portal will open and players will need to enter in order to kill another gatekeeper and retrieve another version of the Aegis relic. If you're going into Mars on the right, then often 2 players enter the portal. And if you're entering Venus on the left, then often only 1 guardian is needed. Now when inside the portal, once the gatekeeper is defeated, this will create a debuff called Marked by the Void. Now this debuff will remain as long as the team stay inside the portal, and this debuff will gradually cloud your view, gradually turning your screen completely black. Now the only way to remove this is by cleansing using the relic, the same way you would at the Templar encounter. Now if you do find you need to cleanse whilst inside the portal, it's important to note that you still need to cleanse once outside too, just to make sure you don't have the lingering effects of the debuff. Now this entire process needs to be repeated in the other portal on the other side of the room, creating 3 Aegis relics in total. Now whilst the plates have been captured to open the portals, it's important to defend them from any Praetorians that may be in the area. If the Praetorian is able to capture a plate, this will prevent the portal from reopening, and an Oracle may spawn above the portal, which if you don't destroy this in time will create a message and wipe the team, saying that you're forever lost in the dark corners of time. Now whilst members of the fire team are busy retrieving the relics of Aegis, the rest of the fire team will be outside the portals defending the plates to keep the portals open. A conflux will also appear in the center of the room, and this will need to be defended to ensure Vex can't sacrifice. Now once all the relics have been retrieved and the conflux is completely formed, players will need to defend it from minotaurs which spawn out of each portal. Now you can use the relics heavy attack to defeat these fairly easily. Now be sure to knock them to the side of the portal rather than directly back inside, as knocking them back inside the portal can mean they spawn directly on the conflux itself, and this is something you most definitely want to avoid, as you want to avoid as many Vex sacrificing as possible. If too many Vex are able to sacrifice in a conflux, then this will wipe the encounter and fail the mission. But once you've successfully retrieved all the Aegis relics and defended the conflux from the minotaurs and the Vex in the arena, this will mark the successful completion of this phase of the raid and will move us on to the final encounter, Atheon times conflux. Now shortly after Atheon appears, he will teleport 3 members of the fire team to either the past or the future. And as we said in the previous encounter, these are often referred to as Mars and Venus. And once inside, 1 member of this team of 3 will need to pick up the Aegis relic. Now with the relic you can deal damage to any of the enemies, whilst the other 2 members of the team focus on destroying the oracles. Now all 6 oracles will need to be defeated successfully before guardians can leave the portal on the other side. Now once the relic holder has defeated the enemies in the portal, they are able to aid the rest of the team with defeating the oracles. By using their jump and heavy attack, the slam ability is able to destroy oracles too, and should you need to, the relic holder can use the Cleanse ability to wipe any debuffs from members of the fire team. Now whilst this team of 3 are defeating the oracles, the remaining 3 guardians left behind in the vault will need to bear face with Atheon and also some supplicants. Now supplicants are harpies that explode whilst close to you and quite easily can take an entire team out. Now whilst these supplicants are being summoned, Atheon will stand still, allowing small amounts of damage to be dealt. Now once the original team are teleported inside though, they will need to call out which moment in time they've been teleported to. So if the players are teleported out to Mars for example, then the remaining 3 guardians outside should stand on the left plate. And if the call out is Venus, they'll need to go stand on the right plate. Now to avoid getting blown up by the supplicants, players can stand on the pillar in the middle of the plates, and by capturing the plate, this will open the portal on the other side of the time's conflux, allowing the 3 guardians to escape. But before they escape, they'll need to make sure all the oracles have been defeated, and you'll know this has been done successfully as you'll see a message on screen saying guardians make their own fate. Now by defeating all the oracles, this will grant a buff called Time's Vengeance. This allows you to do increased amount of damage to Atheon as well as speeding up all your ability cooldowns. Now once this buff is active, all members of the fire team want to make their way to the middle platform directly in front of Atheon. Now the original relic holder from inside the portal will now need to activate their shield ability. This offers protection to the entire fire team, allowing them to deal as much damage to Atheon as they possibly can. If you're able to do this quick enough, your DPS phase will be over 20 seconds, with the relic holder providing a countdown for the rest of the team. Now should Atheon still be alive and the vengeance timer be relatively low, guardians should jump out at the back of the arena towards where they entered the vault initially. The reason for this is supplicants will be waiting for you on the left and right, so if you do jump out on the sides, then you have a very high risk of blowing yourself up. Now when Time's Vengeance ends, this will open up another time stream, and Atheon will once again repeat that process and teleport 3 members of your fire team to another moment in time. And as before, you'll need to rinse and repeat the process of defeating the oracles, opening the portal, obtaining the Time Vengeance buff, and returning back to the middle platform in the middle of the arena. And once you've successfully defeated Atheon, you would have completed the Vault of Glass raid. So there we have it, a quick refresh and reminder for new and returning players who intend to jump into the Vault of Glass. If you have enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a comment and rating down below, and consider subscribing for more Destiny 2 content. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out one of these 2 videos you see in these cards for further hints, tips and tricks for Destiny 2. I'm going to jump back into the game as always guys, and I will catch you all again very soon.